One of the coolest things about what we get to do on a daily basis is work with some of the best players in the world. And we're able to capture their moves on 3D and really kind of see what makes their swings tick. They're built differently, they have different looking swings on video, but they all do some really core key things very similarly.
Yeah, and those things that they do allow them to hit the ball a lot more solid.
Right.
So in this video, we're going to look at 3 things that we see with our tour players that you can absolutely incorporate into your game.
That's right.
To hit more solid shots a lot more often.
All right, so let's start straight in with the backswing. What do we see a lot of golfers do, and then what do we see the majority of the tour players out there, the really good golfers, do?
Yeah, so again, we have a whole series, pros versus ams. It's been fairly successful. And we look at commonalities of tour players and the commonalities of amateurs.
Right.
One of the more important ones we see on the backswing, differentiators between skill level, is how much they move the center of their upper body on the backswing.
Right, so if you were to swallow a pill, it would get stuck kind of right in the middle of your sternum, both face on and down the line. That's what we're talking about measuring. We don't see a lot of lateral movement in the backswing at that point of the swing.
No, absolutely right. These guys fairly make a fairly centered, I guess, upper body wind up, you would say. And we see the amateurs or the higher handicappers make more of a shifting motion with the upper body.
So we'll see a typical tour player, right? And it's really eerie how similar all these guys with all those different looks are in regard to this. It'll move right around an inch, inch and a half max. Usually don't see very many move farther right than that.
Yeah, you may see a few, but again, those may be outliers. The majority of them fairly tight torso
And then
rotation.
what's the numbers we've seen with some AMs?
Maybe 3-4 inches.
3-4
to
inches,
the
right. So what does that create then again for them in the downswing? What are the troubles with that?
They got a couple problems. One of them, if they don't do anything else with that torso and try to swing down, they're going to hit it really fat, unless they have some kind of compensation with the hands.
Right, so we've heard for a while now that sliding in the swing is bad. Well, if you move this far off the ball, you better start sliding forward to get that bottom of the arc back towards the golf ball.
And I think that's what the better amateur will do, is kind of do this. The poor player will re-center with the upper body,
Right.
And then you can see what that would do to the club motion.
That's exactly right. So the first thing that we see great ball strikers do is have very little, we'll call it play, off the ball with their trunk, their torso.
Okay, Mike, so we looked at upper body motion on the backswing. What do we see at the top of the swing in regards to the lower body?
So really what we're looking for when we look at all these pros is we're looking for red flags when we're working with them, right? They're all so similar in so many ways that when they're not, that really stands out. And again, we see this a lot of times with amateurs. So if we set up to it square, the hips are fairly level at the start of the golf swing. The great ball strikers really start to get this right hip higher by the time they reach the top. Now, that's accomplished in a couple different ways, right? You can only get the right hip so high. So you're gonna lose flex in this right knee. That's gonna help get it up there. And then the key thing that a lot of golfers forget about is the left knee.
Yeah, that's a big one. So once they're set up at address, they start to make the backswing. They're going to lose a little bit in the right.
That's right.
But most of the tilt we see comes from gaining in the left.
Right.
Almost double what they started.
Right. So let's say the knees start at 20 degrees flex, right? It's fairly rounded number. They're going to lose about 3 to 8 degrees in the right knee. Not a ton, but they're going to lose it. That helps get the hip up, but they're going to basically double the knee flex in the left knee or the lead knee. And that's really going to lower as the left hip is lowering, that's going to allow the right hip to raise even more. And you're going to get that really nice displacement at the top. Now, from there, something really important happens.
Absolutely.
It sets you up for this little fall, this little counter move, this little recentering move forward. And that's something that we see the best ball strikers in the world do. And it's something, it's not a talent thing. So we can see 20 handicappers we can get to do that. 5 handicappers, best players in the world do it. It's really something that's going to really improve your ball striking consistency and contact by getting this mass moving forward onto this left side early.
Yeah, and we've measured thousands of swings on this swing catalyst right here. And we've seen the best players in the world, major champions, all the way down to 25 handicappers. sometimes struggle with that, right?
Yes.
Is with the pelvis tilts and the knee flex changes. We get them to do that. We see the difference on the swing catalyst and immediately start striking the ball more solid.
Right, so those two ingredients right now will already start to send your ball striking to a different level. Now we got one more for you. All right, Sean, the final ingredient here for really solid ball striking happens in the downswing. And again, it's something we see these tour players do that we see a lot of AMs missing in their downswing.
Yeah, so, you know, let's say you've got a good top of the backswing, your torso is fairly centered, you got the right tilts, your knees are flexed the right amount, you did the fall.
You've got it all there, everything's in place.
It doesn't mean you're gonna hit this ball solid.
Right.
Because the one thing that can mess all of this up is your connection to the club and how you're moving this club face and actually how you're moving your arms in this transition phase, right? So from the top, what we see a lot of amateurs do, in an attempt to get lag is what I feel like, is they narrow the right arm in conjunction, they pull it, they tighten it up almost like a bicep curl, and they cup the left wrist.
That's right.
So
to increase this angle right here.
yeah, it allows them to lag because they
Yes.
think there's a lot of club head speed involved in that.
Right.
What that does, it opens the club face. Not only that, it steepens the shaft, so they're going to get a really steep hit with an open club face. That's not a good recipe for solid contact.
No, and let's do that again from down the line. So go ahead back to the top. So the club face needs to start working towards the camera this way, like twisting that way, showing it to the camera. We see a lot of this where the club face starts working towards the wall. That's 180 degrees the opposite of what should be happening. And a lot of that is this right wrist cupping. You see how it tilts and twists the club face away from the camera when we should be doing the opposite way, getting it more towards the camera. That's going to give you an earlier squaring of the club, right? So you've done the backswing right, you've shifted properly at the transition, now getting that club face in position to really eliminate all this timing down here at the ball is the last really key ingredient.
Yeah, and these things are tied together. I mean, if you were to narrow or pull your right arm closer to you,
Absolutely.
it's probably going to contribute to that. And if you can feel wide, that's going to help you maintain that kind of flattish left wrist.
Exactly right.
You don't need to go crazy and be Dustin Johnson. I think you can get hurt that way.
Absolutely.
Just maintain a fairly neutral wrist. We always talk about the fist. If you can maintain that and keep some structure and width in your right arm, you know, as this club comes into the ball, it's going to be a lot more square, and that's going to help you hit it way more solid.
That's exactly right. So backswing, don't shift off the ball with the upper body a lot. Start turning around yourself a little better. Top of the swing, start to get that right hip higher, left hip lower, let that knee flex. And then downswing, let's start to point that face away from the target a little bit coming down so we can square it more up here and have more fun down here at the ball. If you found today's video helpful, we put together a free distance training video right down below this in the comment section. Go to the first comment, it's our pinned comment, there's a link in there. Click on that link, you'll be taken to another page where you enter your name and email, then click access now. You're gonna get immediate access to that free distance video.
And guys, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, click subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that every time we put out a new video, you'll get it immediately.
Exactly right. We want to make this channel all about helping you with your golf game. So let us know in the comments below if there's anything you'd like to see that we haven't covered yet. We'll be happy to do it. Till then, see you guys on the next video.